Okay, we have begun recording. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:30-ish. This is the call meeting, public hearing, and we'll go ahead and start off the meeting with the invocation. And I will go ahead and tell you to do that for us. Everybody would stand and remain standing for the pledge.
Lord, we're just so grateful to have an opportunity to come together tonight after a long and drawn out elections and things. And Lord, we know that's the lead up to the great part of governing. Lord, a little bit of that governing will happen in this room. And Lord, we ask you for your presence, for your favor, for your wisdom, as those types of decisions that are equal to any in this world get made in this place for the benefit of the citizens of Walnut Grove, Lord. We want those decisions to be wise and good and the way you want things to be, but we also want it to lead to great things for the people who live here. Protect it, watch over it, especially bless those who work here and do the citizens' work, Lord. Those who serve voluntarily and those who actually get out and cut the grass, Lord. We just ask you to be with them and watch over them and bless them with your good favor. We thank you for this time in this place where democracy thrives, and we ask you to protect that too, Lord. We pray our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council. We're going to go ahead and move on with the roll call. And as I look around me and see the whole council is in attendance. Next thing on the agenda is agenda approval. And I will call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
There's a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be patient with us tonight. Our city clerk or deputy clerk is out of town getting some training. So we are taking notes tonight as we go along. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the public hearing. We will go ahead and open it up and we'll ask Joe to go ahead and, if you would, I think all of council was in attendance at the last one. If you'd like to just do a synopsis, as long as council is okay with that. We would appreciate it.
Mayor Council, as you are aware, the city is acting as an applicant on behalf of this request, which, as we've discussed previously in the previous meeting, was a twofold request. One of which is to apply a conditional use permit to the property that's Mulway's. That's currently vacant, in order to allow Mike's Tire Shop to move there and be conforming and be able to operate there. The understanding is they're going to be there temporarily, but until they're able to move to their new permanent location down the road, Mr. Sheldon is going to be building. In order to do that, because automotive uses are not permitted in the downtown Oakland district, there's a accompanying request to actually amend the zoning map by redrawing the downtown overlay district boundaries to exclude this piece. And as we were discussing, in order to get the lines to work, you actually have to include the piece that surrounds where Malloy's is. So the request is twofold. One of which is to apply a conditional use permit to this piece, which is the lighter color, because that's C1. In order to do automotive anywhere in the city, you have to have a conditional use permit on C1. But then the downtown overlay district, if y'all approve the map amendment to change the boundaries, it will allow them to be legal and allow you to issue the business license and or transfer the license. The planning commission did recommend two separate recommendations, one of which was a conditional use permit. They did recommend a 12-month time period, which you all can discuss. And then they also did recommend amending the boundaries.
Okay, thank you, Joe. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and, if anybody's in favor of the amendment and the rezone, go ahead and come on up and speak now. I think we're all the same people.
Yes, sir.
Come on up.
All
Justin, could you give me your home address, please, if you
Home
don't?
address
Yes.
is 329 Lake Vista Drive, Jefferson.
And it's Justin Myers.
Yes.
Go ahead, Justin.
So, it's my first time doing this. I don't know exactly.
Nobody knows what to say when they come up here.
Um,
Tell us what you're thinking.
So,
Why it's important to you.
yeah, we just need a little time till we get to our permanent location. Few months. It's important, like I said, to everybody that's here to follow behind me. We're not gonna be in you guys' way for long. I know you don't want an automotive shop there, you know, in the long run, but yeah, we're just trying to get through so we can move into Timmy's new place. 6 months or so. Probably less, hopefully less. It's a little time, so I appreciate you guys considering it. And we're gonna, you know, help the city look good while we're there, so.
Thank you, Justin.
All right, thanks.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor? Okay. Is there anybody who would like to speak against the rezoning and the amendment to the downtown overlay? All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and close the hearing. We'll open up the discussion for council. In case we have any questions, you can ask questions of Mr. Walter or of the owner of Mike's Tires. And we can, as you heard before, you can, if you so choose, you can choose to put conditions on it. Whatever you think might need to happen to ensure that we keep the city looking as good and moving forward as possible. Okay. So I'm going to open up to discussion.
I spoke with Mr. Sheldon before today's meeting. He told me that 6 months would be plenty of time. So I feel confident in approving it for the 6 month condition. Also, when Justin was speaking earlier, I realized he hasn't had a signed lease with Mr. Sheldon. And in order, I don't know, one you might say, no, can't do that. Can it be conditional on that lease being signed?
But at least on the new building.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could, that's an unusual condition. But I think what you're trying to secure is making sure that at the end of 6 months, this is going to move to another spot. And that has to be signed in a written form in order for the condition to allow.
I also want to be sure that they're the ones that are moved to the new spot. That's helpful.
They're the applicant, so this condition applies to them,
Only to them, okay.
calling them them.
And who's the tire store with the applicant?
No.
The city's in. Okay.
But you're doing it
We have
for
them.
them.
Right.
Mr. Myers, I do have one question. Currently you have a lot of outdoor storage. Is this building gonna allow you to store more things inside? Mainly tires, okay.
And working inside,
Yay, that'll be good for you guys.
it's a blessing, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
we look forward.
just was wondering. I didn't know if you were gonna continue with that. Well, that's all I heard.
Well, how soon are you looking to move down there? So you're ready to move now?
I have a couple of questions. I don't know if it's for Joe, but is there any need for like checking water or plumbing, things like that, since that building's been vacant a while, or is that not applicable in this situation?
That's,
Or like the
that's,
certificates of occupancy?
that's not really a zoning action.
Okay.
That's a permitting action. If
Okay,
they could get a compliance inspection as part of the transfer of the business license, but I mean, I imagine they would, before they would, take possession of the premise, they would, hopefully those utilities are in order and those other items, but normally in this situation, a lot of jurisdictions will have a compliance inspection done by the building inspector to check for those requirements, the
Okay.
plumbing, ADA, and those other items. I have never been in there, so I'm not able to speak about that, but, that would be a separate action. My thoughts on that.
Okay. And my other question is probably for Tony, because recommendation was 12 months and I've seen 4 to 8 months, I've seen 6 months. I'm not necessarily comfortable with 12 months, but is it possible to put like a caveat to the 6 months that if for some reason, the construction on the building is delayed through no fault of Timmy or anybody, like inspections or something, that we can have a simple extension just for that purpose.
You could draft that condition, that it would be, what I heard was 6 months. And then if they needed more, you could grant a 2-month, the mayor could grant a 2-month extension if it were necessary, or whatever time period you wanted to give her authority to grant that extension.
Kind of meets in the middle that way.
Come on, I'm trying to find you. Are you aware that there's ordinances within the city?
Yes.
Okay. I would ask that you become familiar, if council makes a decision tonight in your favor, please become familiar with those ordinances. Regarding storage, upkeep, you usually have a pretty tight ship, but just make sure you're aware of what those ordinances are, and if you have any questions about them, we're always available for answering your questions, okay? Any other questions?
That includes, just let him know that includes making sure he gets approval for any type of signage, even if it's temporary signage.
Mr. Ryan's already has that approved.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yep. Are there any other comments, questions? No? All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion on this. We can make a decision tonight because this is a called meeting. So I'm going to ask for a motion regarding these two.
I'd like to make a motion. First, to grant the conditional use permit for the C1 zone motorways to be used as a tire shop by Mike's Tires. And second, I would like to motion that we withdraw or amend the downtown overlay to exclude that parcel and Molloy's tire shop. The conditional use permit would be given for 6 months with extension granting authority given to the mayor in the event that they are not able to move it within the 6 month time frame.
Do I have a second?
1 second.
Let me.
There's not.
Is there any discussion?
Just want clarity on the second motion. Did you put like a 2 month on the extension timeframe or not? Or no
No,
timeframe?
no restriction on.
I would, think to add the 2 month time frame and, a conditional or a condition that states that the applicant has to provide a lease that starts before May 1st, 2025. Starts on or before May 1st, 2025.
This one. Anyone?
And then May, yeah,
So
so June 1st.
yeah.
Got it.
Can I say my motion has been so amended, or do I need to state the entire motion again?
No, you can accept the
I will amend my motion to accept the 2-month extension and provided that there was a lease on it before June of 2025, provided by Mr. Myers.
Any more discussion?
For the shelter property.
Yes, for the Charlotte property, excuse me.
Okay. All in favor?
There also is an acceptance of the second to the, you got the motion modified, but the acceptance of the second.
I second the amended motion.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. It passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go. To all of you guys, and it says a lot that you all be here tonight.
Yeah.
You obviously care about your business as much as we. It's great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay. All right. We don't want to make you guys hang around. If you'd like to be excused, feel free. We don't make people stay. I put the next thing on here is the Planning and Zoning Commission report, and that was really to hear the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning. But Joe, if you wouldn't mind, could you go over the report that you gave out a little bit, just to,
Yes, I'll hit the highlights, but
that'd be great.
when I saw that, I figured it's been a while since I had submitted a zoning administrator report.
Thanks, guys.
So I know you've got a lot of business going on, but
Yeah.
I wanted to update the planning commission and council on zoning and permitting activity. We just acted upon the zoning case. To my knowledge, there's nothing else in the hopper for zoning consideration. We have a number of site plans under review in various stages. I believe you were going to hear from Church of the Grove in the work session that follows about their architectural exteriors. I saw finish boards. I do know that they have, they've addressed all of our comments, and I think that's in your packet. We're just waiting for agency approvals, just confirmation on water, environmental health, soil and water, those sorts of activities, which we would require, y'all would require no matter what, before you could issue a permit. And you all have asked, have all these put to you all for your chance to look at it. So they're well on their way to being able to be permitted. After tonight will be one of the stops. Stonehaven subdivision, we have, they've addressed all the PPI's comments. We're waiting on agency approvals, and that they will need to submit that for your all's consideration.
They'll be on the next work session.
Yes.
September, guys.
But they're moving along on that. And these other ones are sitting around with some various issues. I know elevation truck sales that we discussed back in October. We haven't seen anything else since the discussion that we had. So that's, and they haven't addressed any of the engineering comments, so that's sitting there. And then we have a number of projects in some phase of site construction. And then, as you all are aware, the park's moving along, and then, and I understand y'all will be moving forward with your master planning process, so.
I have a question if that's allowed.
Yeah.
Maximum RX credit, is that an existing business in an existing building in the city?
Yes. They had submitted drawings to expand onto the next lot. This is,
Right.
well, y'all know where it is, but not, so they submitted drawings, we reviewed it, issued comments, and then we have this big crickets. That's
Yeah.
so until, I just leave it on there because at some point, I would assume they would, because they've invested in it and the property owner, so I'm not sure the holdup, but,
That was all.
yes. You're welcome.
To give you guys a little bit of news too about that cabinet shop, the S&E cabinet shop. They had that big wall they were building, and it failed during the hurricane. And since then, we have got Aaron Lumley. He's been working with the architect over there, and he put certain criteria and requirements at stages of development to ensure that the wall doesn't fail again. We can do that. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
All right. Next thing is the City of Walnut Grove holiday schedule amendment regarding Veterans Day. Right now, the city does not recognize Veterans Day with the closing of the office for the employees not working that day. And so we have it on here. That is one of the main federal holidays, just like when we had Juneteenth. I'm asking council to consider closing the city on that date, and when we go ahead and finalize the new calendar and employee handbook, that we will add that on. But for this year, I'm asking that we consider amending this year's schedule to allow for the city to be closed on Veterans Day and the employees to not come into work that day. And so I will vote for a motion on that.
I would definitely make a motion that we amend our City of Long Grove holiday schedule and include Veterans Day as a date to close.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion?
I do have a question, because I know we amended recently for another holiday. And so I was just thinking in terms of, at some point in time, maybe we just need to review the entire schedule and decide
Yeah,
rather than popping back up.
absolutely. We're amending this just for this year, 2024.
Okay.
And what
All right.
I had mentioned, we'll go ahead and do that with the next year's schedule as well as the
Perfect.
employee handbook.
Perfect.
Okay,
That's all.
any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, the last is, it's not necessarily something that we had to bring here, but we decided to bring it here, just because we like to make sure everybody knows what's going on. And what it is the Georgia Municipal Association, which is the organization that oversees all of the municipalities in the state of Georgia. They have done a call to action, and they have created a letter asking different cities and municipalities and counties to sign off on this by November 13th. And what it is a call to action and asking council to support additional emergency funding for communities impacted by 2023-2024 natural disasters, and urging Congress to swiftly pass an emergency disaster supplemental appropriate bill. And one of the council members brought this to my attention and asked for it to be on this agenda. That we have a discussion about it and decide if we're going to sign off on that as a city. There is a lot of power in the cities coming together, and that's why the Georgia Municipal Association came together. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that out there to council and ask for a motion on that.
I make a motion that we sign the document to support the funding request.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Yes. Thank you, guys. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the call meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? We're gonna take a 5 to 10 minute recess, guys. Recess, sound really important. And then we will go ahead and reconvene with the work session. And get to hear from some of our exciting news of the future. And I promise it won't be a very long meeting, but the longest part will be the presentation. So, do you guys want to take a recess for a minute, or do you want to just keep going?
I'm good.
What do you think, Linda? You're okay? Are you okay?
I'm good.
Allison? Joe? Good? Are you guys good? You guys are ready? Okay. All right, then we will go ahead and call to order the work session. Let's just keep moving. We've already done the pledge and all that, so we're going to just go ahead and move on. And I'm going to ask for a motion to approve. Actually, I'm going to add one thing on here. Councilmember Linda Pilgrim asked me to put on here the financials for the last meeting because we tabled them. Linda, would you like that on here, or you want it on next week's meeting where we can approve them?
Let's put it on next week.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Then I'll ask for a motion to approve this agenda.
I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. We also have another council member. We have council members who have been very busy. The next item is a Veterans Day proclamation. And Councilmember Davis created this, and we're going to be, we're pleased to honor that the City of Walnut Grove Mayor and Council has joined together again this year to pay tribute on this day to the dedicated veterans who have served this great nation with such distinction, both in peacetime and in war. And in honor of these dedicated men and women, we pledge our continued defense of our nation so that our sacrifice will stand before the entire world as a tribute to the spirit and determination of a people dedicated to the principles of freedom and democracy. And on this patriotic occasion, let us all commit ourselves to the great need of fostering a spirit of rededication to the ideals that have served as the foundation of this great country. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, therefore, I, Stephanie Moncrief, Mayor of the City of Walnut Grove, do hereby proclaim Monday, November 11th, 2024 as Honor Our Veterans Day in the City of Walnut Grove, and urge all our citizens to honor our veterans and rededicate themselves to the preservation of our liberties under the Constitution. And I will go ahead and be signing off on that tonight because it's a very important proclamation, and our veterans are very important people. And with that in mind, we are having a huge we're having a celebration, a formal flag raising on the grass in front of City Hall on Sunday, the 10th at 1 p.m. There'll be refreshments afterwards. We have the flag corps from Monroe Area High School, right? Junior ROTC. They'll be coming and doing the flag raising for us. And we'll have a little discussion and be able to just celebrate our veterans. And hopefully if you know any, or if you are a veteran yourself, you'll come or share the news and come enjoy that day with us. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Davis. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on now. And we're going to do the Church at the Grove presentation. This is a preliminary site review, everyone. We're not making a decision tonight. They're aware that we're not making any decisions tonight. They came in front of us with Craig, myself, and a few other people, and Rachel was there. And they have some very unique building materials that are green, environmentally friendly. But we thought it would be a good idea that they came in front of council and shared their thoughts with everybody, so that everybody's on the same page from the beginning and you guys can share your thoughts back with them. And so I open up the floor. If you guys would introduce yourselves and the company that you're with, and we'll go from there.
Very nice. Thank you guys for having us here this evening. I'm Hunter Knox, Steel Co. This is Natalie Barracall. She's our architect, and I'm the acting project manager for Church of the Grove's new building that we're looking to do. Thank you all again for the time. We're just here today to show you kind of what we're looking to do in the community. This is just a drone shot of the existing site, and this would be a kind of look ahead of what our proposal for Church at the Grove would be. Main reason for this is our design implements what we would call an IMP, an insulated metal panel, which this is a recycled material, 60% minimum recycled material. So this is LEED certified. It's basically just a metal panel with insulation. The main reason we like this is it's an easy install process. The look is, you get this look here. It looks like a stucco look. The main importance of this product is ease of install, energy efficiency. When you install this acts as your insulation layer. So there's no need for insulation on the interior of the building for your shell. This prevents additional waste of material insulation. It acts as a stucco EPIS look while not having the multiple different grades working. It's just a lot easier for install, and the life of these last 50 to 70 years, depends on the product. Another big point we like with this, ease of cleaning, maintenance. You don't have any of the issues with stucco, cracking. It's hard to clean if it stains. This material you can take, pressure wash, clean right up to it. So if you want me to bring this up and pass to you guys.
No insulation?
This acts as your insulation layer.
Okay.
So you pass, you get your exterior panel installed in your energy code. It's a hydro seal product. It's just superior to a traditional metal panel, and saves you on time and labor installation. And it's also very cost effective compared to if you try to do it stucco on top of a metal panel and then insulation. You have three trades in that scenario, whereas this one is a single trade. So this is kind of our exterior. So we have these IMPs along the front of the building here, and then along this side here that shares the face of the existing church. On the right side and on the rear side of the building, we've got just a typical metal panel. That would be just the color we've got is patrician bronze. And then obviously we've got stone here. This is the stone sample that we've have got at the moment. We've taken this to the church, put it next to the stone that's here. Matches very, very, very close to what they've got installed. So we have stone along our base, wraps here, and the rendering doesn't show it all that well in that photo, but there is a better photo. Let me get back to this one. There you go. So this would kind of be more of the architectural detail side. So this would be the side here that shares where the existing church is. So we've got IMPs, you've got your stone running down. We've got some wall packs shown for accent lighting, as well as up at the front, stone implemented here, stone wrapped around. So we've got multiple different finishes on your front to give it some architectural details. So Natalie, she's been integral in designing this building, drawing this. She took care of all this. See, there's another rendering that shows just kind of during the day what we're proposing. I do believe that last time we had talked that you had mentioned that we cannot take glass to the ground. We feel that this is a good looking feature that matches, I believe, the existing building has glass to the ground. So just trying to match what's existing there. If there's any issue with that, no problem for us to add that, but just covering the bases. Here's some of our the whys and why we like the IMPs over EFS. Mentioned the moisture resistance, ease of maintenance, energy efficiency, the cost, longevity, and the sustainable green product of it. It is just completely superior to most products that are out there. Here's an example of a church that we did, Solid Rock Church, right off 278. We've got a very similar style here, IMPs, the stone. So this is a job that we've done, and kind of let you see what it is. If anybody is interested in their address for that, be happy to give it to you. If you want to go by and take a look at it and see what it looks like in person. Let's see, Natalie, is this the video?
Yeah.
How do I click it? Oh. So here's some drone footage just of the existing facility as we finished, and you'll see a lot of similar design elements from Church at the Grove to this. It's just a very efficient plan, ease of install, very cost effective in how we've got this building designed. So that's our main goal, is to try to build this church as efficiently as possible while also being cost effective and having a good look to it. And then you can see here we've got metal panels on the side. It's a very similar color we're proposing that we did at Solid Rock. So that's the video. Let's see. We also did a very similar setup at church at Stanton Springs, headed out towards Social Circle. Again, IMPs, some stone implementation, some columns there at the front. So this look is just very popular right now, and it's just built to last. Took some renderings here to kind of show you at night what it would look like. We've got some accent lighting here at the front along these just the face of the building, just to kind of break up the look. We'll follow all the energy codes as required, and it's kind of a look of the design. Now, do you have anything on architecture?
We are proposing one of the biggest buildings in the city, and we're very excited for you guys because we did hear that this would be a building to host a lot of events that happen, not just in the church, but open to the community, and it is aligned with the vision of the city, and it would attract a lot of growth. So
And I'll go back to the floor plan just to kind of show you guys what all we've got included. So there's your floor plan, plenty of lobby space, very large for the children, and then a very, very good sized auditorium as well.
right now we're sitting about 500.
So I'll go back to here. Only new parking that we're having to add is this connection at this road right here. All of this is drawn to scale. We've got some trees and whatnot implemented in the design. This is what we've got currently. We're more than happy to add more landscaping as the budget sees. Whatever you guys may require or want, we're happy to do.
That's fine. Total square foot.
26,000.
You have a sample of the metal siding that you were going to put across the top?
Yes, ma'am. This is the panel that's going along the side here. That's just a typical R panel. Here's the horizontal panel. This is not the color. This is all the metal manufacturer would send to us. So let me get closer to, so you can show you kind of how the look is. Show it quite as well. There you go. So our color will be the patrician bronze. And then this panel creates this look here. It'll be a seamless install, so you don't see rivets and nails and whatnot. It's got hidden fasteners. So that will create the horizontal panel face. And then this is our color if you want to take a look at this. This is the color that we're proposing, the patrician bronze, and then this is just that.
And that's on the back side and the other side.
This is just this panel is just along the face, right where yes, right there.
That
It would be just the main entrance.
Yes.
The one along the sides would be the one on the block.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
The view right here, that left side of the building, that's that panel you got in your hand?
The left side of the building is going to be the panel that's over there. The only panels that we have that are this are it would be this side and the rear, the side not facing the street, and then the side not facing the existing church. So this panel will be also the patrician bronze along this side and this side.
Development for, so, with the development going in beside and behind the church, where is that gonna go in? Isn't there an additional road that's gonna go behind the church with that industrial park?
It's gonna be to the, over where his thumb is going around. It's not, they're not gonna share a driveway, but it's gonna be,
They won't be able to see the back of the church, right?
well, yes and no. I mean, it depends on how much landscaping is back there. It's gonna be over in here, and depending on what because they've got a pond back there, and they're putting another pond in. And
the existing pond is right back behind here.
It's so possibly, yes. I don't have the site plans in front of me to show the landscaping in the back. So I don't know if you definitely could or could not see it.
What type of buffer did we put on that?
There's a landscaping buffer and a fence.
That's right.
There's a landscaping buffer and a fence on the Matt Relative side, 40 plus a fence. So once it achieves maturity, you should not be able to see the back of it.
Okay.
If that was a concern over the ordinance as it's written says that it says sheet metal, which is probably an antiquated term, can't be placed on surface and exteriors that are visible from a public road.
Okay.
So they could do this panel there and be fine. I mean, they'd be picked an attractive color. But if there was a public street going right by it, then technically you would say you'd have to use this other panel. This is metal, but it doesn't quite, it's not sheet metal. You know, ultimately it's up to what you all want. You approve it and you say that that building is whatever you approved, and that exterior is what you approved. I mean, I would also suggest as you move forward with your vision is we tweak the architecture exteriors to kind of get some consistency, or either that you just know that you've got a chance to have this, because I mean, it's a lot of it's subjective, but I also understand as having a church that's burned recently, that cost effectiveness is important in this. And this is certainly probably more cost effective for that type of building than trying to say to them, you got to put hardy plank up or something. I mean, I'm just saying that. So there's a little wiggle room for you all, because they're also trying to match the existing building.
Right.
So that's why we sort of do this now, for them to be able to answer your questions. And they've been very, they brought a lot of good stuff for y'all to look at to give you a little good picture. Because the first go around on this, you know, it kind of got put up, and then there was some discussion after the fact that it didn't quite meet the downtown overlay.
Right.
So now they're trying to match, and they brought, you know, they've given you plenty of information for all. But you're asking some good questions.
What is this material called?
Insulated metal panel, IMP. And you can get different thicknesses. I believe that panel that we've got today is just a 2-inch thick metal panel. You can get them all the way up to 6 to 8 inches. What we would propose for is a 2.5-inch panel, which gets you your R value that's necessary for energy efficiency.
City Hall, and I may be absolutely wrong, but I seem to remember a different material here on this brown part that you showed us. You showed us that, and you showed us something that looked like, they had stripes in it, squared off panels for this portion. Not that wavy line, I don't remember seeing that.
I don't believe have we changed any of the rendering. Let's see. I believe it does. I can see where you're in the rendering. It can seem that it's squared, but this is the panel that he took from our spec sheet, implemented into his model. I believe that's just how the rendering is producing it. But this is that panel.
So that, you can't see the seams when you install that, is that right?
It's got in fasteners when how it tucks and how it looks. So it would look consistent from if you stand outside. It would look consistent. You wouldn't see there's a big line showing one panel and another panel where it's connecting.
The IMP too.
Mhm.
Those panels will be from one panel.
Those are all solid
No
panels.
seams.
Yes, we get those custom ordered to size. You can get them up to, I think, up to like 35, 36 foot, and we're not at that level.
Why are you putting those on two sides, and on the back side you're putting that, where you're gonna have to bring in another?
Cost effectiveness.
I think you just said that it's more cost effective to do this.
Well, if we wanted to achieve this stucco look
Yeah.
on the face, it would be more expensive. On the back, with it just being metal panel, all we do is go inside, frame our wall up, and then install a layer of insulation just on that back side, or the right side, and then your rear. It gets a little cost effective when you've got the three elements. When you've got to do the stucco, and you've got to go on the exterior and do that, and then you've got a maintenance deal, and then it's just a kind of thing.
See that?
Mhm. Mhm.
Have metal panels changed a lot recently?
They have a lot of different options.
It just seems like it has more texture, like there's more character to it than a regular. I don't, not very
This
familiar.
is just a typical art panel. They've got, there's a bunch of different metal panels that they do. Sometimes you'll see people, they'll do a reverse art and install them this way, so it takes away some of the ribbing. The install, it doesn't
Doesn't matter either way.
No, it acts as the same, and you just have to ask them to finish whichever side you want to go. So we're proposing to do just the typical normal R panel install, and it'll be in that patrician bronze color that was on the samples that we've got. And the same thing here, it's also in fastener. You'll have this piece will tuck back behind,
Uh-huh.
and you don't see the line where it separates.
And that, oh, that'll be the brown, okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
I got it.
That's gonna be in that dark brown.
Yes, ma'am, the patrician bronze.
And you're really interested in keeping those windows all the way down to the ground?
Well, it matches the other.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree. We just brought up, what the, or what the, what did it say?
What did it say?
Real light gonna be, the sign gonna be lit up, interior?
Into this side?
No, the one on the.
This one here. At this moment in time, what are your thoughts? We can eliminate it, or we can leave it as is. Do y'all have a preference?
Any other thought?
I really had, I mean, honestly, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I like the idea of elimination. I just think it almost gives a little, character, you know, to the property and the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that idea, but I don't
May show
know
a little bit.
what,
You know, a light lit up from the interior, it's gonna cost a lot more. I think it is important that you light up that sign somehow.
This exterior,
Yeah.
we can do backlighting to that, no problem. We're
Something. Even
actually,
if there's like a glow.
yeah, we're doing one at our office we just moved into, and our sign is backlit. So it's got just a little
I think
LED
it needs to
strip.
be lit up a little
Okay.
bit.
Perfect.
That's just a thought.
We would prefer it that way too. So
Mhm. And then during our original meeting, we talked about, because if you see on the left-hand side there, they have rock going up the
Mhm.
wall.
yes.
Before it was.
Yeah, before we just had it at our typical water table level.
Rendering. And we asked for that to add a little character, because it was such a blank wall. Yeah.
So this is taller.
Yeah.
Do we have a foot measurement?
It's 14 feet up, so it balances
Okay.
out.
Okay.
It'll balance out.
It goes to the edge of the brown, where the brown starts.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it would mirror this part of the building.
Okay, got it.
And it's not gonna
And
have that
height.
square pattern. It's not gonna have that square pattern, right? You're just gonna do one big wall.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're still being lower on the other side.
Correct. Any other questions or comments? No.
Those are I mean, not cast, but those are individually placed.
This comes in-
Panel.
This comes in sheets like this. This is real stone, but they thin cut it, and then it comes in basically squares you install as such.
If I may ask, how big are the square? I know they can't be too big because they get too heavy.
About this is the
So
size.
they would be placed like that.
Yes, sir. This would be your look, just to stack stone.
So they don't go like this at all? When you stack them?
They piece together and look just like it was done individually. Like if you laid each stone, this is just
That's just a sample.
yes. And
So they would interlock.
yes, everything.
Yeah.
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 It would look one.
It would be certainly it would look better if you had the time, and that's a lot of effort to stack that 14 feet high on that.
But if you've got these and they.
Right. It's also easier for them to do their fastening and.
When the panels come in,
Yes,
do
ma'am.
they have separate levels that come in? I know I've laid some tile, like in a bathroom,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was smaller pieces, and you would have like where there's sections, and then they kind of fit together.
This will fit together just like a puzzle. Yes, it'll fit together just like a puzzle.
All right.
So when you look at it, you won't see and go, there's a square, there's a square, there's a square, there's a square.
Right, gotcha.
It blends perfectly. You stand back, you would think it was laid each stone individually.
What is the rating, like wind rating on the material?
The wind rating, I don't know that specific off the top of my head, but I know that these IMPs are used all around Florida. We've priced several jobs in Florida, which wind is a lot bigger deal there than it is here in Georgia. So I know it meets all wind codes and regulations in the state of Florida.
And you said it lasts 50 to 70 years. I'm just so very to see out in the future. When it starts to deteriorate, what happens to the material?
The material, let me see.
Is it the insulation that deteriorate?
The insulation just loses some of its.
Or is it like
Just-
start coming
No.
apart or?
You may have some areas, because when you attach these, everything interlocks together in here like this. And it's got, you do a full, you do a sealant all the way from the ground, all the way up into here. That sealant acts as the glue. So the worst thing that can, you won't have, the panel will not separate like this. You won't ever have these cracks. You're at your base, you may have some flay here at your base. But in our scenario, we've got that big stone is covering. So.
Just put it in a cage with squirrels and we'll know how to hold it.
And this, what's good about this product is, it's also paintable. So say in 30 years, you want to go back and we want to change the color. This product is paintable. We actually just did a building, and we did some accent painting, just to give it make it a little bit better look versus the guy didn't want to do stone everywhere. So we just gave him some paint.
How is it, if the Church of the Grove decides at some point to put an awning over the front or a walkway over on the side, how easy is it to attach to that, to work with that?
Very easy. Very easy. All you do is go inside, back to your main structural frame, go in and add some C-channel, and then wherever you need to drill through and attach, you just make sure that your attachment anchors are long enough to go through canopy structure, through IMP, back into your C-channel, which is attached into the metal building structure.
Any other comments? Or questions or anything? Take some time to think about it too. I have everybody's contact information and I will get it out to you. And if you have any questions, comments, bring it to them.
When you're doing the slab, is it, Joe, is it done a certain way because it's a metal building, or is it done just like it would be like a stick built building?
Well, I mean, they would pour the slab and I imagine they would put their anchor bolts in as they pour because they've got but they may also dial down and fasten that.
We typically, we'll overlay our metal building drawings with our slab. We take that out there, have a surveyor go and locate each individual anchor bolt, and then we preset our anchor bolts and then pour the slab monolithically, and wait on the slab to cure. Once it's cured, go in and then you start setting steel.
Because if they're doing the slab, they have to put the plumbing in and all the other stuff in site before so your building inspector would double check all that. But if they're doing it that way, that means that once they pour it, it cuts down the likelihood that they've got a bolt in the wrong spot.
With the surveyor going and setting those points for us, we just did a 70,000 square foot and no issues at all in any of our columns. And then this building is a good bit less complex than that one.
We also did talk about, the dumpster enclosure. The dumpster enclosure, which doesn't have a front on it now, but that would be a good idea to do.
Okay.
To get that closed in. And we also talked about landscaping and, it's a little sparse on the pictures, but they are agreeable to, making sure that landscaping is, a little bit more.
Russ, you're gonna need a bigger parking lot.
Right?
You
Well-
say that by your parking.
That does seem like it's a small addition, but there are formulas out there and they've matched the formula.
We're working with Georgia Civil, they're our civil engineer, and they ran all of our calculations on parking. With all the parking out back along the side and here, he was able to determine that this, to reach our 500 person occupant load, this was all the parking that we were gonna have to add. And then for future, if there ever is a need, you still have basically this whole side. If you ever wanted to add, you Could go back here and add some and potentially here, but we'll try to stay out of here just because close to the road, you're getting into the sign and then there's a grade step down here. So just a little bit more to consider here versus just coming in here and cleaning some of the codes of that.
Are y'all doing a sign too? Are y'all doing a new sign for Church of the Grove along with this build or no?
Along a new monument sign?
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge.
What will the other building, what be used for?
Well, a lot of different things, but I mean, we would, it would be awesome to have offices. I've never had an office on property. And that's good for, it's good to have a little time where I can get away by myself during the week, but our staff, we just set up tables and meet around classic tables, so we'll have some space potentially and most of our space, I think probably forever, and this is part of the change in the culture. Space is multi-purpose in buildings, in churches now more than ever. And so we can use that for small groups. We can use it obviously to host events in the big auditorium, dinners, banquets, and then, potentially overflow if we need it, for maybe, certain Sundays out of the year, but really we'll keep using it like it's been used. CLC, we'll build, there's 2 modulars. They're behind. We'll be getting rid of those 2 modulars. Well, the CLC meets in one of those modulars, so they'll come. And we haven't made a decision official or anything, but I'm thinking that's a space for the CLC to meet during the day to do their classes, and so I mean it'll be used for a lot of different stuff.
So you have 2 modulars currently on the church?
Yes, ma'am.
Or to be temporary built. I didn't realize there was 2. I knew there was 1. So you're intending for those to stay put until this is built?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can't. I mean, we can't hardly fit everybody in barely now, much less try to get rid of the modulars.
That parking lot filled up and that.
And I understand this, and this is not gonna make me popular, okay? But if I recall that the temporary building was to become permanent or have a permanent building in, should have been February past, I believe. So I just want to make sure council stays on base with what we need to do, because I don't want to set precedent where we're running into problems down the road. So if there's anything we need to do legally to make sure that those buildings are okay to remain until that, then I would prefer to go that route rather than just let it ride and slide, so to speak.
Yeah, ask for an extension.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
And the guy sitting next to you, can help me with that.
Ma'am.
Guy sitting next to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's one of these veterans that we're going to honor this weekend.
Yeah. I got any other questions? No? Y'all have any questions for us? No? Okay.
Can I add, this came up in our, when we came to the city hall, but so because of the wording in the code, and this, I'm asking for clarification. I knew it might be a possibility that we would need to ask for a variance on the materials, which primarily the siding and then the glass all the way down to the ground level.
How far out are you on your build? How far before you start building?
Well, so that's a good question, because it would be, I could also ask, when will we raise enough cash? So we really need to raise a little bit more cash, a few $100,000 to $500,000 worth of cash. So a blessing, we paid off every existing debt we've had recently. So we're officially debt free, which positions us well for the breaking ground. But that's the specific. So we would have loved to break ground, before the end of the year, but we're okay if we break ground, into the new year. I know it'll probably be 10 or 12 months, depending on weather, from breaking ground and moving into construction full force.
Let's just keep in touch over the next few months. I see you every quarter, but parent council meetings.
Yes,
And you know where we are, we know where
Sure.
you are. So let's just go ahead and keep in touch, and when and if that becomes a necessity, then we will make sure that you're aware of that
sure,
enough in advance to not hold you guys up.
sure. Thank you.
Okay, anything else, guys? No?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all.
I'll give you a call tomorrow to make sure my email gets to you and see if we can resolve that issue.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yes, ma'am. Thank you all.
Come, guys.
Yes, of course.
The next thing on the agenda, keeping moving forward, is the amendment to chapter 31 of the Code of Ordinances. This was brought to our last meeting and asked to be tabled for more discussion or for more consideration or rewording or anything along those lines. So now open up discussion. If we're ready to discuss that more and see where we are on that. Any comments, guys?
Unfortunately, I have several. I'm gonna look for you with some reason. All right, over on page 2, down number 3, rubbish, garbage, trash. The 24-hour, the prior to collection.
Number 3.
It's 2.
Page
3,
2, and then number 3.
at the top.
Yeah, second page. Which is part of the exceptions. It's talking about 24 hours, not to be placed outside, 24 hours things. A lot of people put their garbage and stuff out over the weekend. We don't have pickup till Wednesday. So to me, that presents a problem because that puts a lot of people in violation very quickly if they're putting their trash out over the weekend.
I think that's in place there to prevent it.
Oh, okay.
And well, the 24 hours.
I wouldn't want my trash sitting at the end of my driveway on the street for more than 24 hours. It presents a traffic hazard, a wildlife hazard. I think that that's why this is here. People put their stuff out in time for the garbage man to get it, not.
And that's great if you're able, but when you're not, and you have to count on somebody else to get your things out, or you have to get them on the weekend,
No, that's not, that's not considered. Thank you, ma'am.
that's, can present a problem for people.
Okay.
That's how much. I was just concerned that having that in there, does present a problem.
I think you're, I think you have to plan ahead a little bit. I understand that we have people who may be not as able as others, but whether they are planning, why would they then need more hours? Why would they need more time? If they're gonna plan, they're gonna plan.
If I'm a person that works 12 hours, 10, 12 hours a day, I may have to do this on the weekend. And so if I put my garbage out on Friday or Saturday, I realize,
I think it's too long. I don't like that,
but
but that's just.
I think we need to consider that we are kind of a rural community with these. We don't operate like an HOA. Okay, you guys live in an area where y'all kind of operate like with an HOA. You have the curbs, you have the shorter driveways, you have the paved driveways. A lot of our other areas, they don't have paved driveways, they don't have the curbing, so, and it's a rural community, and that's part of why people live here. So I think we need to be careful to try to have to find a balance there that's going to work for everybody. Quite frankly, I personally don't want to feel like I've suddenly moved into an HOA community, because that's part of why I selected where I live. And I did look at the ordinances before I moved into town. Not everybody does, and I realize that.
And that's fine, living in not in an HOA is fine, however, still doesn't negate the fact that your trash goes to the edge of the road. And trash being outside for longer than 24 hours poses a threat to passing traffic on all roads because it draws bottleneck. And I think that is why this is a common rule that is used not only in HOAs, but also in many cities across the state. It's for the betterment of all, not for the individual.
I asked, how many people, obviously, this is an issue that is in your neighborhood, so how many people leave their trash out over 24 hours? Does that happen often?
I mean, I know all around town, I see trash cans out.
And some people leave it out always.
And I don't know if there's trash in it. I know, you know,
And I don't
and
think it looks nice.
I haven't spoken to any of my neighbors about this. I know one neighbor in particular, her can never goes in. But her trash is not in it until the day before.
Right.
But her garbage can sits out by the road.
Right.
Several of my neighbors leave their garbage can. I prefer that they don't, but, you know,
I think what we have to look at, guys, is what are we trying to do? What is the purpose of clarifying ordinances? What are we trying to do?
Try to clean up the city, make it look better so that it can have a halo effect on all of our property values.
And that there's a consistency for everybody.
Yep.
It's not just whether you live in this subdivision or on this street. It is an effort to bring into compliance, everybody doing the same thing and having one set of rules that everybody has to follow, no matter where you live.
Right.
You know, and if you have to plan in advance, then you have to plan it. I try and plan in advance every single time we have garbage day, but I'm out there at 9 o'clock at night rolling it out there because somebody else has forgotten perhaps. And I understand that we have to, you know, some people have to ask for help but it's still planning in advance. And if you know that it's a 24-hour period, that the garbage can be out there, I think it's ample time. And
I'll say from my own experience, with my next door neighbors who are quite elderly and had gone through a back surgery and could not take their trash out. We offered to do it for them and we did, but they called Southern Sanitation. Guess what Southern Sanitation did? They went up their driveway every week and got their trash and took it down.
right, and there are provisions for that for regular garbage, yes. And they're available to anyone that's disabled. You know, you have to package it a certain way. And I know I had one neighbor didn't want to package it the way they wanted. You know, that was on them. They had the option. Okay. And I'm not saying, you know, I just said I'm going to discuss that because I know a lot of I don't remember what week it was, but anyway, I put down my yard garbage on the weekend because that's when I happened to clean it up. Yeah, and so yes, it sat out there for a couple of days. I paid attention to the fact that, you know, we weren't going to have rain, so my brown bags weren't going to be sloppy when they went to pick them up, that sort of thing. But I was just more thinking in terms of, you know, was that too short of time? Or maybe we say, you know, habitual or something, but anyway, that was just one of my items.
what is your suggested time?
How are you going to?
I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up.
So every week, the code enforcement is going to drive the whole city
On Tuesday, Monday.
and make sure garbage is out there.
I don't think that the code enforcement officer is going to specifically spend his time on Tuesday mornings, making sure no garbage cans are out there, or whatever the time is. But if he's out there and if it becomes an issue, I mean, it could be anything. These are put in place so that if he does see it, or if it becomes a habit, you know, it could be, they're enforceable.
Right. Imagine you live next door to a neighbor who puts a couch out on Wednesday evening after trash collection has already occurred to not be picked up till next Wednesday. You have a problem with that, so you call City Hall, well, there's nothing we can do. Yeah,
Okay.
there is something we can do because we have this ordinance. We can ask them to move it until it's 24 hours within trash collection time.
I guess,
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right now,
That would
we
be
have
considered-
no way to enforce
not only
it.
what we have in there, but what is the recourse for that? Because if you're gonna give them 14 days to move it.
Right.
It's gonna sit
That
there.
really defeats the purpose of having it in there.
You are absolutely right.
Good point,
That
Maxine.
is a great point.
Okay, let's not get hung up, I didn't hung up on that, but before we go, but just consideration for that.
Right.
We were talking about junk vehicle, if we come on down that line. Any vehicle, automobile, truck, van, or trailer, does that include motor homes of any kind or type?
Any vehicle.
And beautiful.
Yeah, and it doesn't specify where it can be.
Or to maintain on any premise or public right of way. That says where.
Any premises, which means if it's in your backyard, you've got a motorhome in your backyard that's inoperable.
Yep.
You gotta get rid of it. Right?
The city can see it,
That's the way I read it, yeah, so.
Okay.
or if code enforcement can see it.
Well, and that's kind of what I wanted to know, you know,
So that would be considered, I mean, if people have a bunch of.
and I realize we're trying to clean up, and if somebody's got things that are neat, it's probably less problematic. But by the same token, I don't want it a situation where I've got the neighbor over here that is a problem that say, but you didn't make him do this to him, and he, you know,
So
or she's got this over here.
in the exceptions, it says that junk vehicles can be kept as long as they are fully enclosed in a building on a property in residential zoning districts, provided the owner occupant of the property is a process of reconditioning vehicle. Or if a junk vehicle is kept on the property in zoning districts by zoning resolution for repairing, reconditioning, or remodeling.
And I have a question here is, if it's enclosed, why does it matter whether they're bothering to work on it or not?
You're only gonna know if they leave their garage door open all the time and they have the.
If it's fully enclosed, then nobody will know anyway. I'm not gonna come in your garage, so of course I'm not coming in your garage.
So
We're
that,
trying to deter from having disabled vehicles in driveways, on the side of houses, parked behind houses.
And you have to cover all your bases in order to make it actually happen, or you'll find some kind of little leeway to. Say it's
You wanna
okay.
keep your broke down car in your garage, that's your.
like, where by 20 under your tire, that's your own
One
easement.
question about it, on the first page, under section A, section 1A. To open the open or outdoor storage of appliances, building materials or debris, equipment, garbage, glass material, merchandise, rubbish, trash, or similar items shall not be permitted to be maintained or stored on any premises. Look, so does that? So you can't have a swing in your front yard or a bird bath or something like that. Is that right?
I phrased it different. I said, who decides what is trash or rubbish?
Then somebody would have to determine a bird bath that I absolutely love. I think it's very pretty.
Where do you see bird bath?
No, I'm asking that where it says the open or outdoor storage of appliances. So all of this
It's a
is,
merchandise.
This is for
Yes.
storage, guys, if there's a lot of things being stored.
Not stuff in your yard,
Yeah,
not yard art. No matter how tacky it might be, like my yard. I have it before, so it's pretty good. I mean,
well, and you have a swing, and actually I was thinking about your yard. We should bring it over to so that's why I was asking.
you know, these are things that are gonna be stored on your premises.
like, salt horses and.
Panels of wood,
saws
a
and
washer and a dryer.
MDF board, and like my next door neighbors with their refrigerator at the door.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that was it. That was the only question I had.
And I mean, you know, I try to look at it. we're a rural community in many ways. So what's a problem if somebody has a lawnmower that doesn't work, stored in their backyard as long as it's not visible to everyone else?
Right, you can't see it, so how are they gonna get a ticket for it? Right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, if it is in the backyard and it's not visible, no one's gonna see it.
You should see my back patio, it has all kinds of fun.
And yeah, I just. This one,
One thing that, keep in mind too, guys,
I realize we have good some guys.
yeah, I know, and I know you're thinking about the future when and if one day we don't have, or the city doesn't.
Well, we just want to we also want to make sure that other people can't put them in a bad position because of the way we had it written.
Right. Do you have any other?
Uh, Yeah, my question, I guess I look at it different, Maybe it's because of some things that have occurred over time that give me some concern where we've had people in the area get upset, like over the weeds and the grass and that sort of thing. Of course, we've got in here 12 inches, and I thought, well, I know mine gets 12 inches at one point because I always let mine seed, because I have pasture grass. I don't have real grass. If I don't let it reseed, then I have nothing but weeds. So I do have to let mine get tall at least once a year so it can reseed itself, so to speak. But I also hope that code realizes most of the time I take care of it.
I think we need to consider too, in some of our older lots, our older places, some of our lots are really small, like a third of an acre. And when these people moved in there back in the late 60s and 70s, it was good, but they don't have a backyard. So they don't have any option but use the front yard to park.
The park.
The park on the driveway. I'm saying if they've got anything, if they've got a car they're working on, an antique car, a lawnmower that won't run.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But they don't have a backyard.
but I think what we're talking about is leaving a lawnmower on the front yard for 5 weeks that you're working on. If you're working on a lawnmower, you're working on a lawnmower. If you're doing an oil change on a car, you're changing a tire. Those are things that happen in a 24-hour period at most. But when you have somebody who is working on in their front yard on a vehicle that is not tagged or is not operable, that brings down.
Well, it's not operable, might be the reason they're working on it.
Well, do you have any insight in this?
Just a lot of experience in the problems that these things solve. Your code enforcement people don't have time to drive around looking for trash cans.
Right now.
It's the person who always leaves their trash can at the driveway. This is the tool that you use to get it.
Yeah.
You've been rural, you're not gonna be much longer. And so people have different lifestyles, and when they store outdoors, they store. I mean, it becomes an obvious mess. And you just need a room. When people let their yards go, they just don't do yard work. They don't really know what a lawnmower is. Then 12 inches, it's gonna be 36 inches, and everybody's gonna know when the 12-inch rule needs to be enforced. And But you gotta give your enforcement people clear tools and clear instruction, and it's not to hassle your neighbors with, because it works both ways. These rules can be over-exercised in retaliation just as well. I mean, it's just, if your lawnmower breaks down and you go to get a part and you're fixing, nobody's gonna say anything. If you got 5 lawnmowers in your backyard, all in disrepair where you're selling lawnmowers, just cleans it up. It's outdoor storage and residential. When it gets to big, as we said, you gotta have a rule to clean it up. And these are what everybody has. And it doesn't create an enforcement problem. It really just is the tools they really need. Keep your neighborhoods looking like normal neighborhoods.
I think about it as, what if everyone in the city was doing that one thing that this person is doing to break the ordinance? Our city would look terrible. If everybody left their trash cans out all the time, the city would look terrible. If everybody had an abandoned vehicle in their front yard, the city would look terrible. So what's good for one is good for everybody.
And code enforcement is our first line of defense.
No, I think the first line of defense is educating the people.
Oh,
Are y'all gonna create this into a mailer so everybody knows?
I think.
Because the 5 of us know and the 4 people out here.
I think it should be a social media blitz.
Yeah.
With
Everybody
council
gets
members
introduced.
doing a video
Yeah.
and saying, hey, there's new ordinances. Linda, you're gonna talk about the outdoor storage one, and we're gonna go ahead and put that one out one week. And then also letting the citizens know about this.
But everybody doesn't do social media.
No, but we'll go ahead and do a mailer too, let everybody know about it and where they can find the new ordinances.
We also have super friendly code enforcement officers that I believe will give people warnings
right.
and be very kind.
Mhm.
And educate them if they are breaking the ordinance. I don't think they're gonna go out there and say, well, you left your trash can out here for 2 weeks. I hadn't said nothing to you, but now I'm gonna give you a ticket. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna say, look.
But what it's gonna come down to, we'll have to hire an extra code enforcer just to police our garbage.
Well, we're not gonna be
No,
police.
that's not what we're doing.
No,
But if you go out, if you have to give,
Sure.
you come out and give me a warning about my garbage can, and then my neighbor does the same thing, and the code enforcer's busy on the other side of town, and nobody says anything to him, I'm gonna be mad. You're gonna have to police them every week.
No, we don't have to police.
Yeah,
them.
you do.
It is for
You have to inspect what you expect.
Yeah, but people that do it every week, it's going to be noticed and they will get a warning. Where you're not gonna have the ability.
With that mentality, every person who speeds should be given a ticket.
Absolutely.
Not just me.
They should-
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Well,
Then why is it against the law to speed?
Then-
If I completely.
Answer.
if I'm speeding and I get stopped and I get a ticket, then you fly by me while I'm sitting on the side of the road. They don't stop you and you don't get a ticket. I'm gonna be mad.
Well, then
That's on you.
that's everyday life.
That's on you. I don't know what to
So
say.
I'm saying you need to, before you start running around warning people about ordinance they don't even know they're breaking, you
Right.
need to educate them.
Craig, all the drivers.
Isn't it appropriate for me to see this? Can I? Okay, after doing code enforcement for so many years in the job, and I know Greg has done it for so many years in another jurisdiction, the way he operates and the way I operate, we're not gonna get, you get to know the community, and he's already started doing that. He's got people know him by first name.
Mhm.
You don't ride around, see something the first time, write an ordinance. You start, in your head, you start noticing things. You ride through, you see a car, somebody might have the hood up. You don't write them on notice right then. You start, it's a pattern recognition. That's how, that's how ordinance, that's how you communicate. It's almost like community policing. You sort of, you're only, if you notice something over and over and over, then that's when you take action. It's not the first time you see it. And a lot of it is, and what Greg is really doing now good is he's getting a lot of people talking and the neighbors saying, hey, this, that, and the other, and people start self-policing.
Mhm.
We've made some great strides here recently, but the way the code enforcement has always been done here is notice things, and I understand about the grass situation. I learned the hard way. I wrote a lot of notices for grass cutting and made a lot of people mad. That was several years ago. I think the way to relieve any concerns is to realize that you're looking at something, a problem jumps out at you after you notice it over and over and over. You just don't take action every time you see something. So I hope that, that's the way I think Greg's gonna operate too. So.
Yeah, keep in mind, guys, something. It is our responsibility, it is your responsibility to create the laws, and it's my responsibility to enforce those laws. So what we are all trying to do is make the city of Walnut Grove retain the feel of the city of Walnut Grove. And there is no harm in creating tools to allow our code enforcement and allow our citizens to not only self-police, but to hold each other accountable to each other and keep our property values up where they can be and where they're going. It's very important. We have a responsibility to the citizens, and not just citizens in neighborhoods that have HOAs. I think there's one neighbor, two now, with an HOA, but to all citizens to provide a beautiful, clean, safe city to live and thrive in.
And I totally agree with that, Mayor. And I just wanted to make sure that what we have written, that we've found that balance between too strict that could so easily create havoc and too loose where our code enforcement doesn't have any teeth. When we say these, what's the teeth in them? That's the biggest thing for me is what are the teeth in our laws? Like I said, if we're going to give 14 days for somebody to get the sofa off the front yard, what's the point in even putting the 24-hour thing in there?
I'm going to go ahead and if you will allow me to, I will talk with Craig tomorrow about the teeth and the number of days and whatnot. And we will talk to Tony to see if there is any generalized wording out there where you put it at the, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, kind of like more at the discretion of the code enforcement officer, but then give him the teeth to fix it when it becomes a problem.
No, you have a very valid point, Maxine, and we'll go ahead and get that done. I'm gonna get it done before the next council meeting, guys. I would like to put it on the agenda for that, to give our code enforcement the teeth that they need, and they do need some teeth in some areas. And it's not just residential, guys, it's everywhere.
Right.
Okay, so if you guys.
That's a good question right there. Does these same rules apply to our businesses?
Well, in here, it says in different situations, it says, well, if zoning allows for it, like, if zoning allows for outdoor storage in a business, then you can do it within these parameters. If it's in this area and it's not allowed, then you can't, but it's definitely in there. And if you guys have anything else, then talk to each other and get a conversation going and let's get this nailed down so we can start moving forward with it. Okay? All right. All right. Is that okay? I know. Let's move on. Everybody here all night long, but okay. Employee retention resolution. I know I have spoken with specifically one of you, and but everybody has the document in front of you that was sent for us from Jay. And there is a,
I know, I have copies of them.
there is a step scale based on the number of years that you've been here. And, well, anyway, up to 1 year and anything 1 to 3 years. And then I think it's 3 years to 5 years and 5 to, what's the next one? 46. All right,
79.
If you can see it. Yeah. And then for part-time employees, we'll base it upon their work week. And this is an effort to kind of get in line with other municipalities who have done these type of incentives for their employees. And this will be for the year of 2024, this year only. Next year, if it is allowable, if it's available in the budget and we can do it, then that's something that we can look at. But this is for this year only.
Okay, I just have one question. It says one-time salary increases for all city employees.
That means they have to be taxed.
Right, and I get that, okay.
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure, because of the word increases, that bothered me a little bit, that, I just wanted to make sure it's more like an extra pay during the year.
It's an increase in your salary.
Okay,
It just said.
I just wanted to make,
And the reason is we can't do gifting in
Right.
the area of bonuses. So you have
Right.
to do a salary adjustment. That's a one-time salary adjustment.
Any questions on that, guys?
I'm good with
And that's gonna be on the agenda next week. Update to council staff, travel expenses, for training and conferences. I don't know that this is really an issue, and I want to go ahead and start the conversation, asking Tony a question. I looked, I think this was brought up because of, a conference that, may come up in the future. And the amount of travel that is allowed for council currently for the city of Walnut Grove is the conference has to be 60 miles away. Is that correct?
Right.
well, I don't know where the 60 miles came into play. I don't know when it was put into play. I don't know if it's in writing. You know.
I think what we need to do is,
It's been,
and also the per diem, where it was discussed that the per diem was, there was a federal rate and then there was a municipality rate set forth by the University of Georgia for all municipalities that I found. Can the city set their own?
They can, but you want to have a guideline that's reasonable for what you're funding. You know, if this meal, 3 meals a day, or room at 3 meals, whatever you're trying to estimate, it should be within. And so that's why people look to other governmental standards to use, just to back up. This is a reasonable number.
yeah, I actually, what I saw was what caused me to have a question on anything was I happened to be reading some publications from GMA and saw where it said that per diem counts as salary in certain situations. And that was my concern. Are we doing the right thing the way we're doing it? Have we counted as salary? Have we not counted as salary? Where do we stand on that, as well as if we're not where we need to be with that?
It's not salary, it's travel expense. I mean, I think in every instance, you're traveling for business and being reimbursed for it. It's usually a limiting factor. You can actually do actual cost reimbursement.
Right,
But
that's what caused me, like it says, if it's actual, you don't count it as salary. But if it's not actual and you don't return any unused, then it has to count as salary. It was something to that effect that caused me to question it. And so that's why I wanted to make sure we were where we need to be with that. And that was, the table turned up.
per diems are used to keep the budget on the travel expenses. It's not actuals end up being more.
Right.
And so it's a budgetary restraint on that number. It's less, and almost every city uses it to control the budget, not the lower than what could be actual if you just spent. If you got reimbursed for what you did, there's gonna be no control from that.
Right.
The Ritz is really good.
And I know we
You're
went,
actually there spending the money.
I know we went to using per diem versus actual for the meals, and that was where I think the city, the only place the city uses per diem. We use actual if you staying at a hotel. We use the table for the mileage. Even parking, we turn in parking receipts if we go somewhere, so we use actual for everything except the meals and incidentals.
Right.
And that was set, we've been giving $50 per day. And I just wanted to make sure we were legal with how we were doing that, whether or not that was the right amount.
And
Other than that, I'm good with sitting where we are.
Yeah, I was looking at those federal tables, we weren't far off. It was
No.
60 for Atlanta and 80 for Savannah and 80.
I think it was, if you did Walnut Grove, it was like 58 or something.
Right.
But
Those are all good standards. Yeah, that's really what you're looking for.
I just want, main thing was make sure we don't need to count in his salary and so then let's.
I'm sure the IRS has a little sentence at the bottom of that, says that if you don't spend it, if it comes, then, you know, but I doubt that their agents do that when they're traveling. So it's just you know, it's not something that I see a lot of problems with or questions about. It just get it right and I wouldn't worry. Usually end up having to do things that you have to use your private money for. So.
Yep. Are you comfortable with that, Mike? Yeah. Okay, is there any other discussion on that, guys? No? No. Okay, that was the last topic. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I so moved.
Any, is there a second?
Second.
In favor?
I.
Unanimous. Thank you, ladies. Let's play
Mayor.
Let's turn on the video, please.
I just, yes.
We're already here. We're going to turn on.
Okay.
Oh,